Weird. Okay, there we go. There's the mic working. Honestly, I had to unplug my mic. I was kind of nervous about it for a second. But what's up, team? Morning. What's up, Brian, Robert? Finally a green day. Honestly, gold and silver are basically where they were yesterday, which I think is good right now. NASDAQ sitting 24,800. It is a green day. We ended pretty low yesterday. If you look at the previous closing price on the NASDAQ at about 24,400s is the previous close. We are now at 24,800s, moving closer to 25,000. Can you guys hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? What's up, Steve, Auntie, Sergio, Brian, Alton, Robert, Big, E, Reggie, Benji, David, Jonathan, Jay, David, On, Brent, Kato, Ava, Production, Smoke. What's up, guys? Good morning. All right, good. Y'all can hear me. All right, good. Yeah, again, what's scared Amazon? So Amazon posted earnings yesterday, and they weren't what people wanted. All right, so Amazon essentially posted earnings yesterday, and they posted worse than expected EPS by about 1 cent, but it was still worse than expected. And in a market that needs a beat and raise scenario, again, it was worse than expected. Yeah, so apparently it's worse than expected. Revenue did show up higher than expected by a couple billion, which is good. The problem is that they posted wild CapEx numbers, and in a market that fears AI right now, they reacted negatively. Amazon is selling off. It guided its 26 CapEx up to about $200 billion for AI infrastructure, which is way over the 145 to 150 billion street expected. This kind of stoked fears of margin pressure and slower free cash flow growth, AI spending bubble worries. People are worrying about the bubble bursting here. And so Amazon, even though it raised CapEx, which some people thought might help the stock go up, Amazon is down. And honestly, markets were still kind of scared from it. Yesterday was a wild market. Again, if we look at Bitcoin here, guys, Bitcoin got as low yesterday at 60,000. The Bitcoin went to 59.9s for a little while yesterday. Very scary number here. Bounced exactly off of 60K right there. Bitcoin tumbling down. We did have strategy earnings here. If you look at strategy, proud of myself for not saying MicroStrategy. They actually reacted well to their earnings. They're up to 114s right now for MicroStrategy. They initially dropped on a big GAAP loss. GAAP just stands for generally accepted accounting principles. But they're really talking about EPS tied to Bitcoin. The stock bounced after management reassured investors on the earnings call and in follow-up that their debt is serviceable and the firm can handle much lower Bitcoin prices. So with Bitcoin bouncing off of 60K, MicroStrategy is acting as a kind of Bitcoin rebound play right now. And you can see strategy is up to 114s. It closed yesterday at 107. So it's up, a decent percentage. And after a week-long tech and AI fear, downward pressure, markets are bouncing a little bit. Positioning stretched short and sentiment washed out. Fears over AI CapEx and software eased a little bit this morning. But it's still early, guys. It's still early. Again, Amazon raising CapEx. What's interesting is that last earnings season, raising CapEx for AI was seen as a positive thing. It was seen as a good thing. Traders like that, especially NVIDIA traders. I'm curious to see how they're responding to this as well. Yeah, NVIDIA is a big winner just because high CapEx means more chips for NVIDIA. So NVIDIA actually reacting well to this. Again, Bitcoin is up today, technically. Here's Bitcoin right here. So Bitcoin is up. It is bouncing up to 66,000 right now, 66K. And I think I have to do a poll here today. I think the poll question is obvious, which is, does the market hold this bounce or does a correction ensue? or something like that. I got to think of a better way to say it. But does the rebound continue this morning, or does the market correct back down today? Rebound continues is going to be an option. Corrects back down. Vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. There's the poll. We are now live with the poll. You can vote on it now. What's up, Beach? Market's going to crash this year. Several drawdowns. Declarative statements about what the market will do is the most obvious sign of a noob with little to no skin. You could declare. But you better leave a little bit of variance in there. You can't say this is absolutely going to happen. If you do, I don't trust you because you don't understand variance. And I'll just answer yes to both. Yes to both might be right. Dead cat bounce. No one knows. Like everyone wakes up at 3 a.m., decides I got nothing to worry about all of a sudden. You think the bear market is over? I really don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I think it's too early to tell. You know, this rebound, I mean, look, it's something. We're bouncing back from 60K all the way up to 66K. So that's a decent percentage. You know, we bounced up, what, $6,000 from the lows at midnight last night or whenever this was. They always change my time here. Yeah, midnight last night, basically. Bitcoin hit 60K. We're back up about $6,000 from 60K. So, like a 10, 11% bounce back, which is good. But you got to be careful right now. This market, again, is scary. Again, gold and silver, if we take a look at gold and silver here. Gold's still under 5K an ounce. Hit lows of 46.75 at basically midnight last night. 4900s now. Silver under $75. It is technically green on the day, but it hit lows of 63s early this morning for silver. So gold and silver are still scary looking. Looking at our poll, honestly, we're pretty split down the middle already. 49% think the rebound continues. Now it's 52% thinks we correct back down. Again, let me know what you guys think. Do we continue down? What's going to go on right now? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's an interesting day. Remember, yesterday we had jolts show up much weaker than expected. This might have scared people because jolts yesterday showed up much weaker than expected. We showed up at 6.5 million versus 7.2 million hirings, basically. Higher quits than previously as well. So more quits, less hiring. Essentially what Jolt showed yesterday. Jobless claims showed a big uptick week to week and versus expected numbers at 231K yesterday versus, what did they expect? They expected 212. So unemployment claims spiked as well yesterday on a weekly perspective, which is more real time than some of these other reports. Jobless claims is a weekly report that we get. Shows you what last week's numbers were in jobs, and they upticked to 231,000 unemployment claims initial unemployment claims. So we had upticks in unemployment claims yesterday. We had weaker hirings. We had higher quits than expected, and versus last time. And so bad job numbers yesterday. And this is all leading into next week where we have retail sales, we have CPI inflation, and we have the labor report with unemployment and non-farm payrolls next week. So we got a lot of stuff going on next week that could influence sentiment. After yesterday's job numbers, if you take a look at yields, the first thing that happened is that yields dumped yesterday, which they probably should have. I mean, really weak jobs numbers means potentially needing earlier easing. I'm surprised Bitcoin, it didn't help Bitcoin. I thought Bitcoin wanted easing, but they reacted negatively to this. If you look at yields yesterday from these weak job numbers, which again scared a lot of people, yields dumped, which they should have. Again, yields and interest rate sentiment follow each other. So if we have lower interest rate sentiment from weak jobs, yields are going to go down. Bond prices themselves are going to go up. And if you look at something like TLT, I'm sure TLT ended pretty freaking green yesterday, which is bond prices, longer term bond prices. But yeah, TLT spiked. And yeah, again, another big story. Bitcoin, guys, Bitcoin sitting at 66,000. Do we hold here? at 66,000 Bitcoin. Again, Reddit stock is up 5% on good earnings and guidance. You can see Reddit stock gapping up a little bit on good earnings and guidance. Obviously, Amazon raised CapEx, missed EPS, came in slightly above expectations for revenue, but it wasn't good enough, and markets did not like that and reacted negatively to this. We also had news earlier in the day that China has reportedly approved some rare earth exports to Japan. Philip Morris posted earnings. They posted flat EPS and basically flat revenue for PM Philip Morris. So again, flat EPS and revenue. They are down, although not very much. So and yeah, today's an interesting day. We had MicroStrategy earnings. They're reacting well to it. Earnings call ease some worries in people's minds, but Bitcoin is still one of the big stories of the day. And if we take a look at rate cut odds after those weak job numbers yesterday, load. They spiked originally up to over 20%. They're now still 17% likely that we're gonna. Oh, that's a bad arrow. 17% likely that we're gonna cut rates in March next month. So again, about 17% likely that we're gonna cut rates in March next month. As of now, about 83% that we're gonna pause rates next month. Also, nuclear talks in Washington and Muscat could extend for days, according to Al Hadith, citing Iranian TV. See how the nuclear talks go in Iran today. That might influence sentiment in markets here. And again, the NASDAQ is technically green on the day by a pretty decent margin. Now, the volatility is still up there, I think. But the NASDAQ is technically green on the day in markets. Gold, technically green. Silver, technically green. The S&P 500, technically green. Here's the E-mini right now. It's technically green. The Dow, technically green at 49.2s for the Dow. So even with the big drops yesterday in pre-market, we're kind of green. So again, let's see if these rebounds hold or whether the market comes back down. I'm not really sure. Again, CapEx spending is scaring people, is what it is. Green for now, it's a trap. If Bitcoin corrects lower, investors and possibly banks will just dump it. Honestly, the poll is still pretty freaking split down the middle here. Let me know in chat right now. Chat right now, rebound or trap? Is this a rebound or trap? Let me know. Is this a rebound or trap? Let me know. Yeah, I'm green in stocks on the day. Mostly driven by PayPal. I'll probably just sit in PayPal. I don't know when to sell it, but again, like I told you guys, small position, I can just wait. I'm also green in Oracle today, but rebound by the discount, rebound. Please rebound. Bitcoin going to 50K. Yeah, if we look at prediction odds here, these are scary things to look at right now as well. If you look at Kalshi, again, Kalshi's scary right now. But I can't say they're necessarily wrong. Where's the 50K one, do you think? Okay, yeah, so look. How low will Bitcoin get this year on Kalshi? Again, here is a question. How low will Bitcoin get this year? 64% think below 50K this year. 64% on betting odds. And you can see how much this has changed. But again, 64% currently. 50% think below 45,000. And again, that's kind of a scary thing here. A scary thing. Again, Bitcoin does move in phases, in my opinion. But the thing is, when markets tank, it will be easier to buy real estate or go to college. I think real estate is headed down at least 10% overall in the next year. Yeah, I'm not even mad about that. You know, the VIX here, guys. Again, the VIX is still over 20, stabilizing a little bit from yesterday's 22, 23 number at the opening bell yesterday. Where's the bottom in Bitcoin, guys? Let me know. Again, a lot of people think 50K. With as bearish as everyone is, though, market makers might make today rebound and collect premiums before letting the market fall back down next week. And again, next week we got some stuff. Again, looking at next week, I mean, as somebody that mostly covers economic reports, you know, I can't help but go like this a little bit next week. But I don't know if it's going to be good for markets right now. I know yesterday's JOLTS job report and jobless claims were not good for markets. So yesterday's data was not good. Because next week, again, if we look at things, we have retail sales data next week on Tuesday. We have a bunch of other stuff too. I don't know how much this stuff's going to move markets, but maybe. Again, retail sales data, business inventories, import-export price index. The labor report on Wednesday, it's expected at 60,000 jobs for the labor report next Wednesday. Unemployment expected at 4.4%, which is what it was last time. Hourly wages at 0.3%, which is what it was last time. Year over year down 3.7%. Jobless claims on Thursday, and then Friday we have inflation data here. So they don't really show us what we're expecting for CPI data yet. This is for January last month. This is recent CPI inflation data, and yeah, again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens today. Again, Bitcoin has rebounded, and I'm just hoping it holds. Honestly, I really just want it to hold. We'll see. 45K, a lot of geopolitics going on. The Iran meetings today. Yeah, for sure. And if you take a look at oil here, traders are slightly betting on stability here. You know, again, we spiked all the way up to 66 when tensions in Iran spiked late last month. Since then, tensions have settled a little bit, and they're supposed to meet today in the Middle East. So oil back down to $63, but still elevated relative to where it was. Morning, John and friends. Hopefully no more ultra red market, at least just red. Who cares about Kalshi though? Isn't it just people betting? Yeah, I mean it is, but there's something called the wisdom of the crowd, right? So I'm not saying Kalshi in any individual bet is accurate, but when so many different people are putting their take on things, there's something called the wisdom of the crowd. Like essentially you see it in yields, right? You see it in odds and yields and the CME watch tool and all that stuff. So what I mean is that even though it's just prediction markets, there is something called the wisdom of the crowd. And I'm not saying they're right about anything individually, but you can get some accuracy with stuff like that. Again, each individual one is different though. Yeah, miners are operating at a loss, right? So isn't it under... I can't remember the number for miners right now. I think it's under 77,000 is a loss for miners. Let me make sure this is right, but I think it's 77. Estimated average production cost range between 70 and 87,000. So miners are underwater right now. If Bitcoin does not bounce back over some of these levels, miners are losing money. So behavioral economics, yeah. Everybody getting into safe haven assets. Like what? Bonds? I mean, we do see bonds spike. These are long-term bonds, so TLT is long-term. This is 20-year plus bonds, but bonds are up. Yields are down. Here's yields basically right now. So yields are down. Bond prices are up. Costs $93,000 to mine one Bitcoin, depending on where you are. Yeah, it depends on where you are. Energy prices vary. Yeah, I mean, I don't think my title's off. Will the brutal market and Bitcoin crash continue? Question mark. I think that's a reasonable question to ask right now. I think if you're not asking that question, something's wrong. You know, variance is real. We'll see. Maybe the market bounces back, and we are extended on the downside in almost everything. Most markets are down. Gold's down. Silver's down. Bitcoin's down. NASDAQ is down. S&P is down. Not this morning, but overall over the last 48 hours. Most Mag 7 stocks and tech stocks are getting beat up here. So... problem is market is having it is the safe haven assets like gold, silver, Bitcoin are the most volatile right now. Yeah, I mean, look, again, gold under 5,000, 4,900s, silver under 75 right now. So if you look at the larger correction in these things, looking scary right now. It's looking scary. Laughing at the Amazon one. Well, yeah, the Amazon one is true. We've seen the market pivot from wanting high capex, and the big winner of high capex is Nvidia. Again, Nvidia is actually up when a lot of stuff's down. And that might be one of the reasons the market's up. Look at Nvidia this morning. So again, Nvidia profits from higher capex spending. You know, capex is capital expenditures on AI. Bitcoin's the winner in that. You know, regardless of whether the companies go up or down, Bitcoin gets more microchips purchased from higher capex. Amazon did scare investors, but honestly, so did all the other mag tech, so did all the other mag 7 tech stocks. Like, look at Amazon. Amazon's down. Everything else is up. Amazon's still down pretty significantly. Earnings report. So, and again, it's making people circulate fears of a bubble, is what this is. Yeah, I'm in Nike right now. I'm still green in Nike. My average price of Nike is $56. Nike's at $63, so I'm still pretty green. Yeah, Bitcoin here, guys, 66,000. Starting to slump down some, but it's still pretty small, and it's moved today already at 60,000. They're still holding. Bitcoin was the winner, not Bitcoin. Nvidia is the winner. Yeah, waiting for Amazon 190. I am 90% bearish on Bitcoin. Is it time to buy Bitcoin, chat? Let me know. Is it? I don't know. Bitcoin's not the winner of higher capex. Nvidia is. 176 right now for Nvidia. Amazon down. Can you explain why all of tech market did that? So I'm seeing mostly people saying, no, it's not time to buy. Yesterday is one of the craziest things I've seen on Bitcoin. Binance playing games, hit 60,000. Not yet, brothers. Not yet. Yes, it is. Big no, no, yes. CapEx around 500 billion total. Probably something like that. I don't know. Google had 185. Amazon had 200. Something like that. Wait for the big flush. No, it's not. Wait for more money. Day trading, no. Longer term view, sure. Yeah, again, Reddit's green. Good numbers and guidance. Slightly green. No. It's gonna crush even more. No. Remember my first Bitcoin pullback. This thing has more to go. Again, we'll see what happens here, chat. We'll see what happens. Again, Apple. It's honestly, considering, and I'll tell you the story. Somebody's saying, why is tech correcting? AI fears, high capex, margin pressure, overspending, and unreasonable expectations is the reason tech is correcting. Number one is that we've started to see a software slump. We talked about this yesterday. But we've started to see a software slump specifically because people are assuming that AI is going to hurt margins in software because AI makes it, regardless of what people say, AI makes it way easier to produce your own software. Because of that, there's going to be more competition, more software companies, more competition, and thus worse margins for the already existing software companies. So basically, the narrative is that AI is going to eat software to a certain extent. That's the first reason tech is seen dropping. The second reason is because there's overvaluation fears, and earnings releases have showed high capex in most tech companies, which, you know, historically might have been a good thing. But considering the narrative of everything going on, high capex has made people panic. The other reason is that when the stocks report earnings, the Mag 7 tech stocks reported earnings this season, and we still have Nvidia to go in a couple weeks. That one's going to be crazy because it's the most heavy-weighted stock in the market. It's the number one weight on Nvidia or on the NASDAQ, and so it's the heaviest stock in the market. So Nvidia earnings this month will be really, really interesting. But yeah, companies need beat and raise scenarios. They need beaten EPS, beaten revenue, raised guidance, and they've gotten all this stuff, but a lot of them have still gone down just from they wanted more, right? Amazon's a good example of that. Amazon missed EPS, right? Missed EPS, beat revenue by a small amount, and CapEx was high. That made people panic and freak out, and now it's down to 204. Yeah, well, that was old news from yesterday. Did I get Nvidia to 160s? Maybe. If the tech sell-off continues. If Nvidia gets down to 160s, though, the whole market will probably go down with it. And so if Nvidia drops to 260s, or to 160s, the whole market's probably going down with it. Nvidia is super heavy weighted. It's number 1 on the NASDAQ. I think it's number 1 on the S&P too. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, number 1's Nvidia on the S&P and the NASDAQ. So Nvidia earnings this season. I know they're in February. I think they're like, yeah. So Nvidia earnings are going to be 225, the 25th of February for Nvidia. So we got some time, but yeah. Again, here's Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin, quiet Friday here. We do have Michigan consumer sentiment today. It's not a huge release, but it's something. But Bitcoin's a little quiet. Dropped all the way down again to 60,000 earlier this morning. 60K. Again, psychological levels here. That with all trading, here's 60K. Psychological levels. Heaviliest, definitely best word ever. Last bear market, Bitcoin dropped 75% from the highs, 75% from 126 is 30K. We see the monster truck in the swamp again. Don't scare us like that. Also looked highly leveraged the way it dropped, I wonder. What's the justification for stocks beat, raise, but still tank? Because they need to beat by big amounts. And some of them are just beating by small amounts. Amazon, a good example. Amazon missed EPS, beat revenue by a small amount. Wasn't good enough. Seems unlikely we'll have a green day heading into the weekend with all the volatility and fear. Honestly, I'm worried about what Bitcoin's going to do this weekend. Bitcoin, a lot of the time, makes big moves when other markets are closed. Now, that's what I'm kind of worried about with Bitcoin. I'm worried about what Bitcoin does this week. Because that's when we might see some crazy, interesting movements here. So, will Bitcoin be volatile this weekend, chat? Let me know. And people that aren't buying the dip now will buy at a way higher price soon. That's probably true. Depends on how long we wait, though. And again, we got negotiations still going on in Iran today. The Bank of England's pill says inflation falling to target earlier is good news. Amazon files for a mixed shelf offering. They didn't discuss the size, according to an SEC filing. Yeah, so we do have news from Iran. All right, so Bank of America says investors should favor small and mid-cap stocks over big tech, summarizing its view as long Detroit, short Davos. The bank notes that while major tech firms, which it calls bro billionaires, are down about 6%. Small cap stocks are up 13% since the president's inauguration, with policy shifts aimed at lowering costs in energy, healthcare, housing, and credit. Bank of America sees the real economy, not Wall Street gains, as the best investment play ahead of midterms. You guys agree with them? You agree? I don't know. Again, Bitcoin hit 60,000. Back up to 66s now. Sell-off driven by liquidations, leveraged position unwinding. Not a clear fundamental trigger, though. ETH and Solana have dropped sharply before recovering as well. Volatility surged. ETF outflows for Bitcoin hit 434 million, over 2 billion in crypto positions liquidated. And all eyes are on crypto today, I think, especially with all this stuff going on. And as somebody was talking about CapEx, I'm showing the CapEx for big tech, specifically Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. They plan to spend about $650 billion next year on data centers, chips, and infrastructures as the AI race continues. It's up 60% year over year, driven by belief that AI is going to become a winner, takes most market. Amazon alone plans 200 billion, Alphabet 185 billion, Meta 135 billion, Microsoft 105 billion CapEx here. See what we get today, guys. Again, it's kind of a scary market. Again, JP Morgan also cut target price to 265 from 305. Walmart reached $1 trillion market cap as well. The first traditional retailer milestone, 28% annual stock surge for Walmart. Apple posted strong Q1 numbers with 16% revenue growth and 23% iPhone sales increase. Yeah, so Apple, one of the big winners here. Again, people were historically critical of Apple because they weren't getting into AI as much. Now maybe people are rethinking that. Again, you can see Apple's actually pretty green over the last 4 or 5 days when everything else is red. Again, the Bank of England's pill says risk is continuing to speak. They said inflation falling to target earlier is good news. Danger of distorting underlying CPI dynamics. There's a risk that we draw too much comfort from dip in inflation that will come in April, and policy must address any remaining persistence. MPC content with some remaining restrictions. Risk we draw too much comfort from inflation. So the volatility going into the minutes before Nvidia earnings are going to be crazy too. That when the minutes report is? Seems that lines up about right. Is the minutes the same Wednesday? Recession canceled with all that spending? Well, I don't know. Inflation expectations today super crucial. Yeah, I mean, the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment reports prelim data, so it's initial data. I don't know how much it's going to affect markets. It's the university. What is going on? Somebody's rapping right now. I don't know how much it's going to affect markets. It is the University of Michigan data here, which is not the most influential. It depends on how high it is. Like if inflation expectations are high, then maybe we'll see some influence over it. But if they're not high, then it might not cause any reaction here. So again, we'll have to wait and see. But markets are kind of muted right now. Again, here's the NASDAQ as we speak here. NASDAQ up to 24,800s here. I'm watching 24.9s. We will day trade this if we can. Again, in most futures platforms, there's restrictions on gold, silver, natty gas, palladium, natural gas, copper, and more. So there's restrictions in most markets right now outside of the NASDAQ and indexes. Let's see what happens. We're right at the 200 exponential, and I kind of want to long this, but I don't want to short. What do you guys think of the NASDAQ here? Here's the NQ. I don't know what I want to do with this, to be honest. We made money yesterday. Here's the NASDAQ. 24.8 right now, 24.8. Again, there's the 200 exponential right here. So like longer term, maybe you could argue a continuation play. But because of everything that happened yesterday and the day before, you know, I'm worried we're going to get a move like this, and then we're going to start to see whatever happens afterwards on the downside. So, bull or bear on the NASDAQ right now? I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Usually I would buy this dip, but I'm also a little bit more nervous with all the stuff going on. Did we get a donation? We did. Hey, thank you, sir. Why did futures pivot so much? It was negative 1.3% yesterday evening. Was there news overseas buying the dip? Hey, thank you for the donation. Yeah, I mean, I would say markets are back up for a couple different reasons. Number one is Nvidia's up significantly from that high capex, even though Amazon, you know, who posted 200 billion capex potentially for this year, Amazon's down, but Nvidia is the winner in that high capex, even though the rest of the markets are getting scared. But Nvidia is one of the reasons for sure. It's the most heavily weighted stock in markets. That's number one. If you're talking about Bitcoin, you know, at a certain point, we have extension on the downside. So at a certain point, you know, having a relief bounce, the lower we go, having a relief bounce becomes more and more likely. And so I think this is just a relief bounce. And so, again, broad risk hangover from yesterday is still here, but futures are just kind of stabilizing. Amazon's getting hit on CapEx. Bitcoin tapped 60K. Nvidia's up because of this, and markets are just kind of having a little bit of a recovery bounce here. But it's still early. It's still early. But thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. A nice Hunter. The market figures this out. Applebee, the inference machine, M5 Studio 512 unified memory can host DeepSeek 601 locally for 10K, not 6 Blackwells and 60K. Yeah, I mean, that's actually true, probably. And Apple's benefiting. People acting like software will just disappear. It's not going to disappear, but it's going to lose margins, probably. And again, I've talked about this before. This just makes sense, right? Again, if I can produce my own software now versus paying somebody $5,000 to build their own, 10 grand or whatever, however much their software costs. If I could build my own software and AI can walk me through the steps of that, and the ease of building software becomes much easier. Software companies are going to lose margins. Some of them will. Not like they're going to disappear, though. They're still going to be around. But I think that's the correction we're seeing, is that AI is going to eat some of the margins in software, is the story, you know. Bank of England's Pill still speaking, says we should not overinterpret changes to growth outlook in February. With that said, look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's starting to fall some here. Here's the NQ. NASDAQ dipping down some. It's at 24.7s. And again, today we do have University of Michigan consumer sentiment. At 9 a.m. we have used cars prices coming out. Used car prices dropping. I don't know if any of this stuff's going to really move things, but it's something. Again, Bitcoin bounced precisely at 60,000. And I'm watching 60K now. Obviously, 60K is the lows of the last while for Bitcoin. We bounced right at 60,000 even here. Exactly at 60K. So, see what we get. But exactly at 60K we bounced. Jensen must feel like a genius. Yeah, he's the winner in this too, man. Again, high capex is good for Nvidia. So, market is easy to manipulate in pre-market. 5-minute hammer candles. Yeah, I mean, even if it's not cheaper, more competition. All right, so the easiest way to put it is becoming much easier to build software, and it's easier to build. I mean, I think that's objectively true regardless of how you look at it. It's easier to build software right now. That's going to do what? That's going to create more competition. More competition means lower prices, lower margins. And you know, we could argue about it, but it's all good. I think that's true though. Software needs to focus on using AI heavily for enhancement to retain their value. Yeah, that's probably true. Closed my 10x short on Solana last night. Software companies need to adapt the use of KI coding agents. Not all will make that transformation. UiPath. They struggling right now? I'm assuming they are. Again, NASDAQ did end up falling down. This is why, like, usually I would buy the 200 EMA right here. But we're up a lot, and the market's scared still, I think. Nvidia's starting to pull back. UiPath. You know, UiPath is Path, right? I mean, they have had a tough month or two. They're down almost 50% since December 1st. So they have had a tough time. Market started to sell off because the big fund didn't like the Davos speech. Luck to us all. AI is software with good internet. Listening mode only. Barbershop. Not easier to build software with AI. I mean, let's ask the chat. Chat, do you think it's easier to build software now that we have AI? I think it's way easier. Yeah, I think it's way easier. And I think software developers don't want this to be true because it renders them more obsolete. Not obsolete, but more obsolete for sure. And somebody that programs and understands, like, I get it, you know. But I think it very obviously makes it easier to create things, program things, which means it makes it easier to create and program software. Yeah. Debugging way faster. You know, it's just easier, 100%. I think AI can save some time for experienced software engineers, but it's no replacement for talented humans. Yeah, no, that's true. Now the news are pump. AI is great at fixing issues. No, yeah. Amazon's capex needs to show returns, more according to Morgan Stanley. They say Amazon's $200 billion capex. And again, look at this drop on Amazon. Again, they said Amazon's $200 billion capex must deliver clear returns. AWS growth supports the spin, but investors are watching the satellite internet project Amazon Leo for measurable profits. Despite the scrutiny, the firm still sees Amazon as a top underappreciated generative AI winner. Do you agree with Morgan Stanley here? Software engineer will be more superior of KI agents, hyper complex infrastructure, so maybe it will be more about infrastructure than coding. It reduces the time to create the code, but you also need a human to verify and test the results. It will minimize the need for coders, but not for verification. Yeah, to a certain extent, but I think as it grows, it'll get better at all of that. With AI, time saved making the programs and streaming the process is like free money. Bitcoin bears wanted 200 MA trapped. Yeah, again, there's just sometimes you look at a chart. I don't know. We are bouncing at the 200 exponential. So maybe I should have bought this bounce right here that I was looking at. 100 exponential. There it is right there. Again, I just don't trust it that much. I really just don't trust it that much. Yeah, again, Stellantis. Big negative reaction from earnings here. Big negative reaction for STLA. And again, according to Saxo Bank, cryptocurrencies are actually moving in line with equities, acting as an extension of market risk rather than a hedge of market risk. And again, here's Bitcoin today at 66,000. But again, according to Saxo Bank, they say cryptos are moving in line with equities, acting as an extension of market risk rather than a hedge. They say defensive sentiment persists due to ECF outflows and fragile liquidity. Bitcoin rebounded 4.9% to 66,000 and ETH climbed 3.9% to 1,918 after recent multi-month lows. We do have Canada unemployment today. And the employment change for Canada. Bitcoin changed now that the big heads are involved. Yeah, I did watch earnings for Strategy. MicroStrategy or Strategy actually is up a little bit from their earnings. Again, they're up to 115s right now. Again, essentially what happened is that, you know, executives got on the call, Saylor and others, basically helped cool down some fears. And so because of that, strategy is actually up a little bit. They basically said that, hold on, I feel like I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Ugh. Yeah, so again, management essentially reassured investors on the earnings call and in follow-up that their debt is serviceable and that the firm can handle much lower pricing in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin bounced. So with Bitcoin bouncing, MicroStrategy acted as a rebound play as well. It's up to 115s, but calm some fears in the earnings call is what happened for Strategy. A lot of people were thinking Strategy would just dump, and because of Bitcoin's big losses and markets fearing it. But yeah, it ended up rebounding. I tracked it. I tracked the earnings call. Yeah, I mean, look, the earnings call. He closed yesterday at MicroStrategy at 106. We're now at 114. So again, this was basically the investors or the executives telling people that their debt is serviceable and the firm can handle much lower BTC prices. Strategy. So it's up. Bitcoin has moved down, obviously tapped 60K, but yeah, it's up. There's the crypto man. He'll persist. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, guys. So it's now 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock. Everything was green pre-market through the week too, and then when it opened, it crashed. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. We've seen some corrections for sure at the opening bell lately. So we've definitely seen some corrections at the opening bell. I don't know if we're going to continue to see them, but we've definitely seen some so far. I might actually short this and see if we come back down in the NASDAQ here. I'll try. Little baby position here. Try. I want 750s here. What I would like. Right, kind of small, but I would like 750s here. Give it a second. See if we get down there. Again, Bitcoin this morning tapped 60,000. Really got under 60K for just a while here. Get 60K right here. Rebounding back up. And again, we did a poll earlier this morning. Pretty split still. Does the rebound continue or does the market correct back down? 51% think the rebound continues. 49% market comes back down. We'll see. We made a bunch yesterday. So see if we can rake up some money from this volatility today. Yesterday we made, I don't know how much, but we're in a small short on the NASDAQ here. I just want to see if we fall back down to 750 or so. Give it a little time. Could have chop here as well though, so we'll see if we get it. But China bans unapproved yuan-linked stablecoin issuance overseas. You see news on that. Spot gold back up to 49.16. So gold's rebounding back up. Long-term bear. Due in April. The reason we were up before hours is not good. If we were way down and come back up, that's better. This means market has not found the bottom yet. No, I don't know. No companies are expected to sell U.S. investment-grade bonds Friday, according to Bloomberg poll. All right, so again, we're in a small little short here, but dude, you mean the new restrictions? I mean, it's not crazy for companies to restrict trading on crazy volatility. I mean, that's not a shock. Silver, gold, copper, palladium, they've all had wild movements percentage-wise. So Amazon's trying to make a lot of money off their AI cloud. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I'm sitting in this. I'm just waiting here. I'd love to get a breakdown to 750s. I'd like 750. There we go. That's better. But I feel like I just gotta wait. Feel better. I'm not 100% though, but I feel better. I was able to move around and do stuff yesterday, but the sinus part is kind of remaining. Did you notice Alex Karp's college courses have zero to do with computer science or AI? Was AI around when he was in college, sir? You know, I don't know. I don't know when he went to college or, you know. Let's look this up. He graduated in 1989. I mean, you know, 1989, sir. Of course it didn't have anything to do with AI. You know, Steve Jobs took calligraphy courses. Yeah. How's everybody doing after yesterday's bloodbath? Honestly, I made money. Did anybody else make money yesterday? Again, yesterday was a little scary. All right, guys. Again, China bans unapproved CNY linked stablecoin issuance overseas. All right, there we go. I'm gonna take half off here just because I can, and I'd like 750s, but we're not gonna be red now on the trade at all. I like 750 down here. 4,000 pulled over 1,000 in my funded account. Yeah. I will cut the rest of this break even if we go red. I can at least, I'm gonna cut it right there. It's too big of a bounce. So we made money on the trade, but it didn't really follow through. No follow through is fine. Again, we did a poll. Does Bitcoin bounce back today is a different question. Does Bitcoin bounce back more today? Does Bitcoin break over 70,000 today? I think it could if it gets some wheels. Taught myself basic in the late 70s when I was a kid. You don't need a formal education to code, only an interest. Yeah, I taught myself to code JavaScript and Python and React Native. And this was before AI, when a lot harder to learn programming before AI. Again, doubt it. No. Tomorrow night it gets over 70K. Hard to believe we could be green today with an ugly week. Impossible. A random surprise on the weekend. You know, when he makes a move, it's after market closes. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, guys. We'll see. Yeah, market's a little bit more stable today. I'm learning Python right now. It's hard, man. Any advice? You think learning Python is hard? You know, don't look at any other languages. I learned Python first, and it's the most literal language. Easiest syntax. Yeah. Python's the easiest language, to be honest. If anything, if I could go back, I'd probably learn a harder language first, because that would make me more resilient. You know, if I learned a hard language first, then learning other languages would be easy, like Python, versus learning Python first and thinking it was hard before teaching myself other languages and realizing Python was incredibly easy, you know. Hey, what's up, Blaze? Any reports today? We got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. And again, Jolt's weak yesterday. China just said, China just reiterated that crypto business is illegal in the nation. Again, China reiterated that crypto business is illegal. Here's Bitcoin right here. Yeah, I actually learned C++ in school. I don't know a lot of it though. I never, you know. What they teach you in basic C++ class is not going to get you far. But still, I did learn a little bit of it. Way more difficult syntax, you know. I remember getting frustrated learning C++. Again, Bitcoin now at 66,650 right now. Again, NASDAQ did slump back down under the 200 EMA. Classic dead cat bounce. Buffet, Sergio, Humble Roots. Again, here's Bitcoin, guys. Again, Bitcoin's doing okay, though. It looks like it wants 67,000. The NASDAQ is honestly kind of quiet after yesterday's really busy day. Again, here's the NASDAQ right here. Oh, or here's that Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin bounced precisely at 60,000. I think all eyes are on this specific level here, obviously. Bitcoin next gold. Spaghetti code? I don't know what the context of the spaghetti code comment is. But coming from the programmer who produces the top 3 most spaghetti code in the world right now, you know, it piqued my interest. All right, guys. Again, we're at 780s right now. 780s. NASDAQ. Bitcoin's starting to rise too. It looks like it wants 67,000 here. It's getting close. NASDAQ's starting to creep back up, but the range is small here. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Oh, programming will produce some spaghetti code too in AI. AI programming. All right, so the second round of negotiations between never mind. I feel like I need a sneeze and it's just not happening. Worst feeling ever. One of the best feelings ever is like a free sneeze, where you don't even have to cover it. You can just sneeze, you know? Worst feeling ever is when the sneeze goes away. I feel a little wiggle in my nose, but it's not coming out, guys. All right, so the Energy Intel Deputy Chief on Iran talks says there will be a third round of talks. NASDAQ starting to rebound back up on maybe more stability at 24,800s here. I'm curious to see what oil's doing right now. But again, apparently there's going to be a third round of talks according to the Energy Intel Deputy Bureau Chief. On Iran-US talks, there'll be a third round of talks apparently. Looking up other news here. Again, on US-Iran nuclear talks suggest there will be a third round. That is the news pushing markets right now, I think, here. Yeah, NASDAQ did bounce. It's at 24,800s. I think I got out of that short profitable, but see if it continues. XRP. Again, we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment data today. I'm curious to see what the inflation expectations look like, though, by the University of Michigan. I'm genuinely curious to see what they look like. Again, Strategy just reported a net loss of $42.93 per share in Q4 of 2025 yesterday. It's an operating loss of $17.4 billion, up from negative $1 billion last year, which is a 1,600+% larger loss. These figures don't even include the last 5 weeks, which has been really brutal. So yeah, just be careful right now. Again, crypto has seen a recovery bounce here. Again, it's creeping closer and closer to 67,000 here after tapping. Really, it got under 60K for a little bit this morning. Unemployment rate at 830. Yeah, but I mean, saying that seems good, but then you realize it's the Canadian unemployment rate. And listen, I lived in Canada. I like Canadians. But their unemployment rate, I mean, you know, I'm not saying nobody cares, you know, but shout out to Canada. Unemployment rate expected at 6.8%. You got me talking about it. Maybe that's good. Microsoft has a lot of cash. Yeah. Yeah, I think Bitcoin wants 67,000 right now. It's basically right here. So Bitcoin is at 67K here. At 67K. And again, I'm going to go back over this. The story of the day right now in equities is Amazon raising their capex to $200 billion in potential capex for 2026 this year. This scared a lot of people. They missed EPS as well. Fears of a bubble in AI continue as Bitcoin breaks back over 67,000. But Canadians care? Listen, shout out to the Canadians here. I'll cover it. Listen, I'll cover it. Expected at 6.8%. I like Canada. Poutine's good. Poutine's very good. I lived in Canada for a while. And my stepdad was Canadian. Generally pretty friendly, good people. Beautiful country, honestly. At least during the summer it is. Winter's a little rough. But shout out to Canada. I'm just saying, Canadian unemployment is not going to influence markets, but I meant. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Canadians. I appreciate you guys. All right, NASDAQ rejected here. Back down. So again, we are now rejected 24.8s. Kind of flat this morning here, guys. Kind of flat. No crazy big movement yet. We do have the University of Michigan consumer sentiment, though, coming out live at 10 o'clock today. It's nothing big. Again, in about 11 minutes, we have Canadian unemployment. It's not big either. We have used car prices at 9 a.m. this morning. Probably not going to move things that much. And again, really, one of the things that we've seen. Did your stream not crash the market today? It definitely didn't today. Yesterday, fully reasonable to speculate on. Because again, yesterday, here's the NASDAQ. You know, Thursday, let me find this. Okay, this is Wednesday. Where's Thursday? Thursdays. Yeah, yesterday my stream literally started, guys. NASDAQ's popping back up. Good thing I got it about short. Yesterday my stream literally started. Here, hold on, let me find. My stream literally started yesterday. Here. So, NASDAQ started to pump back up though. The 200 exponential did work here. Again, so the NASDAQ is starting to bounce back. Look at the NASDAQ. 24.8s. Here's 24.9s. 25,000's up here too. So, I mean, if we get a big bull resurgence today, maybe we'll see some good swings. Yeah, I'm not saying it's my fault, but it's definitely my fault. You know. 9:30 is when things took off. Yeah, I mean, look. I don't know if I did it yesterday, but there were just problems. And here's where the move started. Into the opening bell yesterday, we just continued. This is the opening bell drop on the NASDAQ yesterday right here. So into the opening bell, we just flushed. Again, Amazon topped Q4 revenue and EBIT expectations here, driven by accelerating Amazon Web and continued retail margin expansion, but raised capex to 200 billion, and it seemingly reignited concerns about long-term return on invested capital. UBS lowered the price target on Amazon to 301. Previously it was 311, but they kept the buy rating though. They said 200 million capex. So again, Amazon scared a lot of people. You know, Amazon scared a lot of people. All right. Again, NASDAQ finding some strength here, though. I think Bitcoin's rising as well here. But again, NASDAQ finding some strength. Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin over 67,000 right now. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's making some moves back up as well. Robinhood has a good upward channel. Robinhood needs it. Robinhood has had a tough, a tough time. Robinhood. Here's Robinhood right here. Put up a... Look at this. Robinhood. Robinhood has had a very, very tough time. They've dropped from 150s back in September, October last year, all the way down to 70s. 150s down to 70s is basically a 50% drop for Robinhood over the last 6 months. So, Robinhood, tough time. Maybe less than 6 months. Let me see. Yeah, about 6 months. Strategy bag holder, mostly $400 average. Eesh. You make more money waiting for shockingly low prices with limited money than you do being always in and never available. I told people that would happen to Robinhood because they are so tied to crypto. Yeah, I mean with crypto down, they're struggling. But again, maybe they're gonna be back up today. Like here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin up to 67,000. I think if Bitcoin can get back over 70, it's looking okay. Okay. Yeah, I think if Bitcoin can get back over 70,000, it's looking all right. So, again, will Bitcoin get back over 70,000 next week? Next week, it all depends on economic reports, right? So you saw how much jobs data was weak yesterday. It's another reason the market panicked, even though I thought Bitcoin might go up because more easing potential and higher rate cut odds. But jobs data was weak. We had jobless claims, which is last week's unemployment claims. So it's very recent data. It's last week's unemployment claims. They shot up. 231,000 initial unemployment claims last week. They only expected 212. They should have been 231K. That was the first job report we got yesterday at 8:30. Higher than expected, weaker for jobs. The second report was the JOLTS job opening report for January that showed up. In the JOLTS job report, they expected 7.2 million. We ended up, and this is essentially hirings, like business expansion and hirings. They expected 7.2 million jobs. Higher is better for jobs. They only showed up at 6.5 million. Very weak. Quits as well showed up way more than previously as well. I think it was over 3 million quits. And we had challenger layoffs show up at 108,000 plus for January, the highest level for a January reading since 2009 yesterday. And so very weak jobs data universally yesterday. And this is all heading into next week's payroll report on Wednesday next week. We get the non-farm payroll unemployment report that was supposed to come out today, but because of the 2-day government shutdown, apparently they just couldn't make it work this week and they had to push it all the way to next week, which is another week where we get CPI inflation on Friday as well. So we'll see what markets do to all this. But yeah, that's the story of the market. This next week will be interesting. Again, Bitcoin back over 67,000. All right, so according to the IRIB, talks have concluded for now in the meeting between U.S. and Iran. The Iranian negotiating delegation has returned to its place of residence. This is recent. Again, IRIB talks have concluded for now. The Iranian negotiating delegation has returned to its place of residence. Again, China coming out anti-crypto this morning. Entities are being banned from unapproved crypto issuance overseas. They're also requiring internet companies not to provide crypto services. All right, guys. Here's Robinhood. And here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ still bouncing back here. We're pretty green in markets. Yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. I'm gonna put it in sub only mode. Yeah, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Yeah, sub only mode is here. Don't be greedy. Don't be stingy. Hit the subscribe button. You know you want to. Everything we do here is free. I don't charge for anything. All right, guys. So I am seeing the NASDAQ correct here. The NASDAQ correct a little bit. Small little pullback. Watching 800s right now. I want to see if we can hold over 8s before 8s. 200 exponential at 75 might be interesting. Well, we'll see. Yeah, maybe the market doesn't like this U.S.-Iran news. Let me see what oil is doing. No, oil's not really moving. Hate that. Again, according to Kalshi odds, the question is how low will Bitcoin get this year? 55% think it's going to be below 50,000 this year at its lowest point. 55% under 50K. 50% think under 45K. 38% think under 40K. Which one do you side with here, chat? In markets. What's the lowest Bitcoin will get this year? Below 50, below 45, or below 40? What's up, Thug Muffin? I like the name. Yeah. Under 40, 45, 44s. Morning? Bro, it's 7:30 in the morning where I live, bro. It's the morning right now. Sun just came up, dude. 45,000 low. 40, 49, 40,000 is the bottom. I don't know who's right here. I think it's reasonable to assume we'll continue to see drops. Doesn't mean it's not going to go back up, but I think it's reasonable to assume, and I think the market is betting on that as well. But I think it's somewhat reasonable. And again, yesterday, after the week jobs data here, we now are at 17% likely of a rate cut next month in March. So still unlikely, but it's possible. It's possible. Again, Bitcoin chat pulling back a little bit. It's now under. It's now at 66,000s for Bitcoin. 66,000s right now. Market does not like the news. Yeah, things are starting to pull back a little bit in markets right now. I don't know if this pullback is going to continue. Again, we are about to get Canadian unemployment data. I'll cover it. Canadians here talked me into it. I'll cover it, bro. All right. 6.8% is what they're expecting for the land of Canada, unemployment. 6.8%. Last time was 6.8%. We also have the employment change number at 5.2K. See what we get here. Shout out to my Canadians here. All right, here's the report right now. Hit the live button next to the play button. Unemployment rate showed up 6.5% lower than expected. Again, 6.5% lower than expected here, guys. 6.5 versus 6.8% expected. Unemployment change showed negative 24.8 thousand for employment change. Negative 24.8K versus 5.2K expected. It's the change in the number of people employed versus the prior month. Negative almost 25,000 in Canada. I mean, this isn't U.S. data, but Canada. Jobs numbers aren't good there either, apparently. The NASDAQ is going up. NASDAQ is up to 24,850s here. Let's see if there's some news coming out or whether this is just 8:30 movement here. Yeah, Canadian data. Part-time employment down 70,000. Negative 25,000 for employment change. Full-time employment 44,000. Previous was 44.9 thousand. Participation rate 65%. Previously was higher. Unemployment 6.5 or 6.8%. So 5:30 in the morning here. What are you in, Cali? Yeah. You guys losing jobs, eh? Yeah. I like Canadians. My stepdad was Canadian, so I know. I used to argue with him since I'm from the South. And I say y'all, like, hey, are y'all going to the store? And he would make fun of me for that. And I would tell him, like, look, dude, you can't throw an S on you and make it plural, sir. Y'all is a contraction for you all. All right? So if we're arguing over which one's technically correct, mine is, you know, I'm going to expect you guys to agree with me here. He was a good guy, though. Rest in peace. Yeah, unemployment data from Canada, not good. Not good. Unemployment rate was good. 6.5, lower than expected. 6.8 expected. Everything else was bad. Again, employment change, negative 70,000. Previous was negative 42,000 for part-time employment. Regular employment down almost 25,000. They expect a positive 7,000. And it ended up showing up at negative 25, negative 24.8 thousand to be technical. So. I'm definitely not Canadian, but I lived in Canada for a while. I'm from Louisiana, which is kind of, you know. Anyways. NASDAQ range is a little tight here. That didn't move markets for crap. I know it didn't. I told you guys it wouldn't. Get Bitcoin under 67. 6,000s now. Bitcoin. Again, I'm wondering here, since we have such a muted pre-market, it's not super muted. I mean, we're gapping up significantly here, but right now it's muted. The range is small. We're not really moving a lot. The VIX is falling down. Because of that, I'm wondering if at the opening bell, we're going to get kind of like a takeoff of volatility, considering everything else is slow right now. And we've seen that a lot over the last month. We've seen a lot of times in which it's quiet ahead of the opening bell, and then once we get the opening bell, chaos ensues. And so I'm curious if that's what we're going to get now. So we got another donation. Thank you, sir. Am I really the only one who thinks we just got the Bitcoin low of the year overnight? You mean 60,000? I mean, I'm sure you're not the only one. I hope you're right. I hope. Thank you for the donation, my friend. I hope you're correct. In regards to, am I really the only one who thinks we just got the Bitcoin low of the year overnight? Again, chat, answer that question. Does anybody think that we hit the low of the year on Bitcoin right here? Is this the low of the year? Right around 60,000. Technically, it's like 59,983 or something like that. Is that the low of the year? Put yes or no in chat right now. Is that the low of the year? Again, betting markets say no. 55% think Bitcoin's breaking under 50,000 this year. Again, I hope they're wrong, and I hope you're right, sir. Most people say no. No. Some people say yes, though. I hope you're wrong. I hope, yeah. I mean, if you're saying you're hoping I'm wrong, you must be short Bitcoin. Or you want to buy Bitcoin up cheap. How about this dip? 25%. All right, I'll do a poll. I got you. Y'all talk me into a poll. Previous poll, we asked people, does the rebound continue? We're a little bit more vague with what we were talking about. Does the rebound continue, or do we correct back down? 52% think the rebound continues. 48% thinks we correct back down. I'm going to make it easier. I'm going to say, will Bitcoin break back below 60K in the next 30 days? That's the question, the poll. Will Bitcoin break back below 60K in the next 30 days? Vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. could be a pre-market pump leading into a dump. Yeah, I'm worried about the opening bell, to be honest. Again, the NASDAQ is trying here, but again, it's still kind of a scary market even with this bounce. The bounce could be a trap. The downside could be a trap. I don't know. Here's the NASDAQ right here. Again, so we asked people, will Bitcoin break back below 60,000 in the next 30 days? We got about 100 votes so far. 73% of them say yes. 73% say yes. Also, the Fed's Bostic, who is retiring, is supposed to speak at 9 a.m. on Bloomberg TV. So the Fed's Bostic is supposed to speak in 23 minutes on Bloomberg TV. We'll see if he says good things. Again, we did get news from Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson saying the U.S. and Iran talks for Friday are over now. Unsure when negotiation might restart. Is that scaring markets? Do people see that as less optimistic for good relations there in Iran? Overwhelming percentage, pop and fade, Nvidia is falling. Yeah, Bitcoin back over 67s here. Oil spiking up a little bit on maybe some of this news here. And again, here's Nvidia. Nvidia's up to 177. It's not down. Nvidia's very green on the day. Nvidia closed at 171s, currently at 177s. I think which is the number one reason? The Iran news today? Yeah, it's very possible. Again, the foreign ministry spokesperson said U.S. and Iran Friday talks are over for now, and they're unsure when negotiations might restart. So, uh-oh. That bad? Difference now is Bitcoin is in a lot more countries and institutions have adopted it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it obviously has adoption, but sentiment is sentiment. All right, NASDAQ still holding, man. The 200 EMA never lets me down, bro. I should take it more, honestly. 200 exponential. Right here. Should be up more. I mean, I'm green day trading today, but I should be up more just if I played it like I should. I got some crumbs. Crypto president selling crypto. What an irony. Panicked and sold their shares. Their shares in what? Again, currently 70-30 basically. Will Bitcoin break back below 60K in the next 30 days? Does anybody think Bitcoin's going to break back under 60K in the next 30 days and then still rebound back up to good levels this year? Thoughts on Strategy, Coin, and Mara? Well, they're obviously getting hurt from Bitcoin price. Currently, Strategy's earnings call eased some concerns here. You know, we had, reassurances or assurances that they could handle a lot more lower pricing in Bitcoin. The debt was serviceable. And so Strategy is up. Bitcoin's back up a little bit today, but still scary. Still scary. Yeah, 4-year cycle. That story, makes sense, the 4-year cycle. 40K is in the cards. 35,000, probably. No. Yeah. Yes. Find the 200 exponential on your own or from someone. I mean, I've been talking about the 200 EMA for years and years and years. Now, to be fair, it's not like I was just testing moving averages. Let me go through the 100 moving average, the 101 moving average, the 102 moving average. So I'm sure I heard it from somebody. It's not like I was just like, you know what, the 200 EMA, that seems reasonable. Let me look at that. Like, of course I heard it from somebody, if I'm being honest. But this was years and years ago. Clarity Act will pump crypto. Maybe. Trade to zero? I lost 44,000 a day. One person has predicted Bitcoin crash points through history. It said they see 37,000. New Bitcoin all-time high this year is still in the cards. Yeah, I mean, we can see it for sure. If it starts to roll up, you know. Again, Robinhood, speaking of Bitcoin, Robinhood being so tied to Bitcoin has made it dump down with Bitcoin falling. Robinhood, though, on the day up to $77. Looking better here. It's down about 50% from its September levels. Again, crude has edged higher on news that the Iran talks are done already and they don't know when they're going to resume. But crude actually just dumped down a pretty decent percentage here. Let's see if there's any recent. Some UAE companies are pulling out of the defense show in Saudi Arabia amid a rift, according to sources with Reuters. Okay, so per a source with knowledge. One of the what made oil come back down here today, guys. So if you look at the left side of the screen, that's oil futures. Oil futures have dropped because apparently somebody with knowledge, a source with knowledge, says U.S.-Iran talks in Oman have ended for today, but another round of talks is going to take place in the coming days. So again, per a source with knowledge. That's all it says here. So we will see. But per a source with knowledge, talks have ended today. We already knew that, but apparently more talks are going to take place in the coming days. This oil goes up on instability. So originally we heard news that they didn't know when another round of talks were going to be. So oil ended up going up because that makes oil more scarce. Worse tensions in the Middle East makes oil more scarce, right? More stability in the Middle East makes oil less scarce and the price per barrel falls. All right, so that is why we have moved like we have. Again, it's the news, specifically this headline right here. I'll put it up on screen. Yeah. There's the sneeze. I really needed that. Honestly, chat, I really needed that. It's been bugging me all morning. That was a necessary sneeze right there. All right, we're back. Oof. Feel better. Feel better. All right, guys. So Under Armour raised fiscal year adjusted operating income outlook. All right, guys. NASDAQ still falling a little bit, but again, the big news is that another round of U.S.-Iran talks are taking place in the coming days, according to Axios. This is making oil go down on more stability, less tensions. Again, originally we had news that sources said they didn't know when another round of talks were going to be, so that kind of scared traders a little bit. Again, we also have China cracking down on crypto. China's central bank tightened crypto rules, banning domestic and controlled overseas entities from issuing virtual currencies without approval. Authorities reaffirmed that crypto is not legal tender and label-related business activity as illegal over there. The move targets risks like money laundering, fraud, and unauthorized cross-border transfers, including stablecoins and tokenized assets. Enforcement will be coordinated between central and local governments along public education campaigns. So yeah, a little bit. China cracking down on crypto is another story of the day here. But yeah, see what happens. NASDAQ pretty flat here. I'm wondering if at the opening bell we're going to start to see some volatility. Again, another big story. Amazon, guys, raised capex to 200 billion, missed EPS margins. So EPS is margins. A little bit worse margins than expected by like 1 cent per share, but still lower than expected in a market that needs a beat. You know, isn't good. And then they raised their capex for this year to $200 billion. Now, while this boosted NVIDIA originally, and NVIDIA's still up on the day pretty significantly, but while this boosted NVIDIA, kind of scared, you know, they did not like this on Amazon. Amazon investors were kind of scared a little bit just because they're worried about can they justify that much spending in their books, right? It's essentially what it is. 200 billion capex, which is capital expenditures on AI, a lot of money to spend, and that scared investors. No, I'm just sick right now, man. I've been sick for the last few days. It's not like super bad. Like I can still do stuff. My whole family, or not my whole family, but I know what this is. Like, you know, I got 4 people living with me here, so I know, we know when somebody here has had something. And last week, I just got what they had. You know, a little cold, not a super high fever or anything, but sinus related sneezing. This is really like the first time I've been sick like that in 12 months or so. So you get Bitcoin back over 67,000 here. Oil futures are going down a little bit on renewed interest in talks coming soon. Let's see what Bitcoin does. Yeah, no, I've said that before. You know, and we can get on, you know, like this song reminds me of that song. It definitely does. If you know, you know. Some of y'all are too young to understand that song, but that's okay. You know the song. You know the song. My kids have been out of school for 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm definitely old, 100%. Again, crude futures are dipping with Brent crude after talks have not broken down between Iran and the U.S. and that we're probably going to see resume talks in the coming days. Can I sing? No. No, I cannot. You gotta know what you're good at in life, and you gotta know what you're not good at. And one thing I am not good at is singing. When oil does finally run. Yeah, oil's been down for a while now. But it's higher than it was. Like, the Iran fears have kind of caused oil to spike back up a little bit. Oil was at 58s, 59s for an extended period of time here. So if you look at oil and we put up a longer term chart, oil was at 57s here in December. And so what happened is that oil was at 55s. And then the Iran-US clashing kind of thing hit. And that spiked the price of oil up to 66 at its peak over the last few weeks. It's settled back down to 62s where it's at now. But this is all weighted towards US-Iran talks. And again, so the US met today. They are now done with that meeting, and they say another session, another round of talks is going to take place in the coming days, essentially. The IRNA indications of an understanding during the first round of negotiations with the US. But there's an indication of understanding during the first round of negotiations apparently today between Iran and the US. And that is making oil decrease because of more potential stability, calming some fears about stuff over there. So again, more stability means cheaper oil. Oil prices decline. Just Yeah, jobless claims spiked. Honestly, jobless claims spiked. Jolt's job hirings declined. Challenger job layoffs spiked heavy for the highest January reading for Challenger job cuts since 2009 yesterday. So universally yesterday in jobs numbers, they were all bad for jobs. All showed weakening labor markets. And again, we had Canada's numbers today. They're kind of mirroring that as well. Canada's numbers were not good, although the unemployment numbers were lower than expected, 6.5. But everything else was pretty weak in Canada as well today. So jobs are worried. And again, we have seen because of that, we've seen yields fall down a little bit over the last few days because of those labor numbers that we got. Again, yields and interest rate sentiment follows each other. So if something makes it more likely that we're going to cut interest rates, yields will decline to follow that sentiment. And if you look at the last 5 days, this is yesterday right here. So you can see yields have fallen here from almost 4.3% down to 4.2%, hit as low as 4.1s. which again, weak labor data is going to do this. Weak labor data is going to more justify rate cuts this year, earlier rate cuts, and interest rate sentiment and yields follow each other. So what you see is bond prices spike yesterday on this news. You look at like TLT or something like that, bond prices went up yesterday. Yields went down. A little bit flat today, but that's what's going on right there. Hey, what's up, Sam? The only singing I do in my household, I have ADHD, so I'll kind of, I don't know if it's called stimming, but if I'm making a burrito, I'll sing a burrito song, ironically, you know? That's about the most singing I'll do. Yeah, back in the day on the stream, we used to do mustard spoons. All right, so Besson is speaking right now. He says there's a new effort to facilitate investment from allies. That under the guidance of President, our nation's thriving economy is attracting strong and stable foreign investments from around the world. As chair of the CFIUS, Treasury is implementing President Trump's America First investment policy, including a new effort to facilitate greater investments from allies and partners while continuing to ensure that no investment threatens our national security. God bless it. Everybody might have ADHD. I don't know. I think some people just want the meds for it. I don't take meds for it. You guys can't tell. Meds make it worse. They don't make ADHD worse. They just calm me down too much to where I don't get excited about anything. Not as easy to work. All right, guys. It's almost the opening bell here. And again, the question is, do we see a correction at the opening bell now? We've been a little stable this morning. Do we see some big market correction at the opening bell today, guys? Again, Bitcoin over 67,000, still quiet. I'm not really it's not that I'm not worried about Bitcoin today. Where the time in which I'm worried about Bitcoin is this weekend. A lot of time Bitcoin moves during periods where other markets are closed. And so I'm honestly worried the most about Bitcoin, not necessarily today, more so this weekend. That's when Bitcoin can make big moves up or down, you know? And so that's honestly where I'm the most worried about it. I actually don't take any medications at all. I mean, do you want my social now? Like, how about my mom's maiden name though? You know, I'll give that to y'all too, you know? I got you guys. I'm on it right now, guys. I'm on it. All right, guys. NASDAQ at 67.4s here. 67.4s. Again, Bessett said new effort to facilitate investments from allies. Again, China cracking down on crypto is a big story. Amazon raising capex to 200 billion. Scaring investors there. And again, apparently talks between the US and Iran are over for now, but sources say they might restart over the next few days. We also had Iran say, what did they say? They said something positive. They said indicators there of an understanding during the first round of negotiations with America. That's good. There's an understanding, hopefully, there between them and us. And again, oil has reacted negatively to this. Not negatively, but oil prices have decreased on potentially more stability. That's another story for the day. NASDAQ at 200. What part of the great state of Texas are you in? I'm in San Francisco, Texas. Again, the NASDAQ. Here's Bitcoin. 67.4s. Amazon down. Look at oil still falling on this news. So oil falling down still. Amazon's still pretty weak. Again, Nvidia is up because of the good CapEx spending here for them. I mean, more spending on AI is good for Nvidia. So Nvidia, actually, in a market that has been scared of CapEx, is one of the winners of that, to be honest. I don't have a video on it, Kane. Sorry, brother. I do not have a video on that. My friend. I'm sorry, sir. I'll give you the code, though. Again, join our Discord. I'll give you the code here. Let me, You mean you're talking about this TOS previous closing price code? You're talking about this code right here. I'll give you the code. I don't. It's not like I'm holding out for the code. It's pretty easy to find. I think there's better ones than the one I have. I haven't updated it in years, but it works. But yeah, join the Discord. Here's the Discord link. If you want to join our Discord, I'm gonna try to build this back up. But if you want to join the Discord, here's the link. Yeah, Amazon hammered today. A vibe coded an algo that uses order flows, dark pools, volume. All right, guys, it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. Bitcoin bear trap at 60,000. Yeah, I mean, we did have a lot of buys coming in exactly at 60K here. Again, 60,000. Right here. So that 60K level held. Katy, Texas is actually really nice. Yeah, so oil's been moving on stability. Again, here's oil. Been moving down. Again, stability with US-Iran talks resuming over the next few days, most likely. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we are going to be day trading live today. We'll see what we get. But we are going to be day trading live. They're an oil trade to get in. Not necessarily leveraged traders. Again, we did a poll here. Will Bitcoin break below 60,000 in the next 30 days? 64% say yes. 36% say no. All right, so effective federal funds rate unchanged. Okay, so Iran's foreign minister is speaking right now. They said negotiators will return to capitals for consultations and talks will continue. Indirect talks with the U.S. was a good start. Time and place of next U.S. talks to be decided. Negotiators will return to capitals for consultations and talks will continue. Good, you can kind of see this text going live here. This is what made oil go down. It says the wall of mistrust should be overcome. Iran's foreign minister. Again, the wall of mistrust should be overcome. I want to trade oil right here. All right. Question is, has oil overcorrected? All right, we're trying here. You just jumped in. Very small oil position. Maybe it's a little risky to trade oil right here, but go. Take half off right there. Little baby trade, but I'm building up a cushion into the opening bell. I'm waiting to see if we get volatility at the open is what I'm waiting for. So far, so good on this trade. You can hold the rest pretty close to break even. Yeah, micro oil's not bad. This is very small. I didn't know how big it was. I'm not used to trading oil like this, but this is very small. Again, EU Commission President von der Leyen says the EU is putting forward a new package of sanctions covering energy, financial services, and trade. Again, according to reports, again, the US and Iran have agreed to continue their talks at another time. So far, we're doing pretty, decent here. Again, indirect talks with the United States was a good start, according to Iran's foreign minister. Today's not non-farm payrolls, no. It was rescheduled. Yeah, so originally it was scheduled for today for non-farm payrolls unemployment, but because of the, the incredibly huge 2 business day government shutdown, apparently the BLS was like, you know what? Those 2 days were crucial. Let's push it back a week now. Shout out to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Again, Bitcoin ahead of the open is right at 67,000. Right at 67,000. We are shorting oil here just because of more stability in the Middle East. We are green. We already took one off. We're sitting on this other little small contract here. There we go. That's nice. Oil still falling down. Gonna cut it right there. Green is good, small green. We'll see if we can add back on a bounce here. Again, here's the NASDAQ. Very green on the day. Struggling though to break here. Like I said a couple different times, I'm curious to see if we get. Hold on. So von der Leyen says we are tightening export restrictions to Russia with new bans on goods and services. We'll take measures against cryptocurrencies companies trading them in platforms enabling crypto trade. We are also targeting several banks in third countries involved in facilitating illegal trade in sanctioned goods. Sanctions include listing 20 more Russian regional banks. Again, the odds that Bitcoin are going to break at least below 50,000 this year currently. 55% 50K, 50% think below 45K, and 40% think below 40K. Tight range though. Robinhood is actually bouncing back though again. Robinhood up to 77s. We do have the University of Michigan consumer sentiment today. It's not a huge report, but it's something. Von der Leyen still speaking here. Will activate for the first time the anti-circumvention sanctions, include new import bans on metals, chemicals, critical minerals not yet under sanctions, worth over 570 million euros, regarding restrictions to Russia with new bans on goods and services. Again, U.S. car prices just dropped. They showed up at 2.4% month over month for January. Previous was 0.1%. And year over year at 2.4%. Previous 0.4%. So quiet ahead of the opening bell for this Friday. Again, Bitcoin is now under 67,000 again here. And yields are down as well today, 4.2%. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm catching back up with the chat. Changed my user title. I'm Corey Thompson. Hey, what's up, guy? All good, dude. Bitcoin is a spring. The longer you hold it down, the more chance it will to bounce. Decouple. I'd be fine with chop. Chop's better than a crash. Again, oil just popped though. So again, oil actually just spiked up a little. Here's oil. Look at oil spike. It looks like getting out of my short was the right decision because oil just popped. There's any breaking news here? I don't see any breaking news. Oil just popped. Wondering if this is some type of Iran catalyst. And NASDAQ still chopping. Wake me up when consolidation ends. I think people are waking up to the fact that crypto is fake. Fake. I don't know. I think you have to look at it like you have to look at Bitcoin kind of like a software. You know, softwares can retain value and have value even though people would describe them as not the most tangible things. They still can have relatively useful aspects and utility. You know, blockchain incredibly useful. Yeah, that's kind of what the market is looking like right now. Stop spending on AI. It's a waste of money, but also AI is going to replace all software. And there's fears that, again, basically we're in a bad is bad and good is bad scenario. It's honestly what we're seeing in markets right now. Bad is bad and good is bad. You know, weak jobs is bad. Again, weak jobs is bad, but also hawkish Kevin Warsh is bad. You know, we're seeing AI is going to replace software. That's bad. But AI is also in a bubble. That's bad too. Right? Bad is bad and good is bad scenario right now. See if that sentiment changes. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. I think there's just fears and uncertainty right now. Again, gold and silver, they're up today. Silver, $75 an ounce. China's Commerce Ministry says China is willing to expand investment with South African in autos, mining, and agriculture. willing to ensure South Africa can enjoy zero tariffs on 100% of exports under new agreement. So they're working on a framework agreement on developing an economic partnership. Again, BTC pulling back a little bit here ahead of the opening bell in a couple minutes. I think it's just fear. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely fear. Yeah, quantum stocks have seen some corrections too, man. Again, I think it's just early. But Rigetti back up a little bit today. QBTS up a little bit today as well. So we're seeing some rebounds, but a lot of these quantum stocks are still down pretty substantially here. It's something about quantum cracking the keys, yeah. AI will be able to break crypto. Not right now, but it's not. Maybe in the future. Again, remember, guys, I am not an investment professional. Obviously, we're not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Do not copy me. Half the time, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and some of you guys might agree with that. So, do not copy me. Understand all the stuff on screen. Yeah, we can do a poll for the opening bell. The last poll we did, we got about 500 votes. 63% say yes, Bitcoin breaks below 60K in the next 30 days. 37% say no. Your chat is spewing nonsense. I mean, that's probably true. Again, are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? What is the chat not spewing nonsense, though? Is the real question here. Okay. Yeah, there's the poll. The poll is now live. Are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? We're all bots? Well, y'all are internet people, you know. Again, if I was in front of 1,000 real people, I'd freak out. But y'all don't exist, really. Are you buying more Oracle? No. Definitely not. I'm also in a small enough position where I'm also not selling Oracle either. I'm just kind of sitting. It's a very small trade. I'm actually green in my portfolio today on Oracle, on PayPal. Home Depot's green. SoFi's green. But again, I'll probably just stay in it. Time heals a lot of wounds in the market. So. Okay, so the Iran foreign minister said an Iraqi official referring to the continuation of negotiations says there is nearly general agreement. It was agreed that the matter will continue, but regarding the timing, manner, and date, all these will be determined in the next consultations, which will be conducted through Oman's foreign minister. So that news is out there. Again, oil's been falling on some of this, but it is slightly red on the day, but green overall over the last few weeks because of tensions there. And again, we got 14 minutes left until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. According to what I've heard, cautiously bearish. I take that as a compliment. I believe it's quantum we need to decipher crypto. I'm nervous. Anyone else? Yeah, 60% bullish, 40% bearish for the opening bell. 60% bullish, 40% bearish. There's hope today, guys. Hope for the open. Yesterday, the bears were right. We asked people if they're bullish or bearish for today, and bears overwhelmingly beat bulls in the poll yesterday, and the bears were right. Market was scary yesterday, fell a lot. We'll see if the bulls are correct today here. The bulls overwhelmingly leading in the poll today, at least 60-40 as of now. Silver. It depends on what time frame you're looking. Silver and gold are both green today. Goes up. Gold's almost back up to 5,000 an ounce. NASDAQ is really the question mark here. It's gapping up, but again, Amazon earnings yesterday, high capex and missed EPS, dragging them down to 200s. Again, Microsoft's gotten beat up over the last few days. AMD has gotten beat up over the last few days. Alphabet's gotten beat up over the last few days. Nvidia with high capex has actually benefited a lot from all this, but it's still down net. It was at over 190s on the 30th of January. It's now at 170s, so pretty decent percentage there, you know, at least 10%. But it's back up today, so it's less than 10% down now from that level, but still not good, not good. Again, we'll see if the big brutal market correction continues here. I don't know. Again, we got 12 minutes left. Bullish Friday. See? All right, here. Oh. Oh, there's. Hold on. Bostic's actually speaking right now. I forgot. So Bostic is speaking. Sentiment in district is one of cautious optimism. Tariff effects will have run through by the middle of the year, he says. Again, so Bostic speaking right now. He's going to retire soon, but again, he is speaking right now. We'll see how this affects the market. Here's the NASDAQ. The toss script. I got a couple scripts. I don't want it to pop up different way. Yeah, I'll put the toss script for the previous closing price in the Discord if anybody wants it, or Discord. Find it. Here. Give me a second. I gotta pop open. Yeah, so here's the script right here. I got you. It's pretty easy script. Yeah, so here is the script for the previous closing price. Our Discord right now. Want that script? It's in think script. Nine minutes. Markets are pretty flat here, to be honest. All right, guys. Are you green or red today? Bull or bear for the opening bell? 57% are bullish, 43% are bearish. Again, Bostic is currently speaking right now. Bostic says need to keep policy restrictive to get inflation at 2%. Will be April or May before data gives clear signals. Fed can't lose sight of inflationary concerns, and inflation has been too high for too long at a plateau. Businesses see upside potential in the economy. It will be April or May before data gives clear signals. Inflation's been too high. Sentiment in the district is one of cautious optimism. Raphael Bostic. And again, the NASDAQ unchanged, kind of quiet here. I'm worried about the opening bell, though. I'm worried if we're going to see craziness at the opening bell today. And I think it's possible we do. Again, we do have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Inflation Expectation Report at 10 a.m. today. Not the biggest report. Sometimes it's wildly inaccurate, but it's something. And so we'll see if we move a little bit. Again, will we get volatility at the opening bell? Let me know. Will we get volatility at the opening bell? Kind of quiet markets. Again, something that we've seen the last few months, really, is we've seen quiet pre-market action, and then at the opening bell, volatility gets unlocked, and we start to see big moves on the upside or the downside. I think the swings at the opening bell have been above average over the last few months relative to normal price swings. And so I'm curious if that's what we're going to see today. Again, Raphael Bostic speaking right now. Again, economy has been K-shaped for a while before. Again, need to keep policy restrictive to get inflation to 2%. On before going into the open. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Bostic's generally hawkish, I would say. Like, Bostic's generally hawkish. You know, Iran's dovish, Bostic's hawkish. Here we get gold pulling back a little bit to the 200 exponential. NASDAQ pretty much flat. Fed lower rates too fast, that I'm sure of. See, it's interesting. Like, you get so many differing opinions. Do you think 75 basis points 3 times, or 25 basis points 3 times equals 75 basis points 0.75% last year? Too much? Too quickly? I don't know, man. 25 basis points are not huge cuts. I'm okay with 25 basis point cuts 3 times last year. I think that's reasonable. And if anything, I told you guys before we even started cutting, that's probably what the Fed would do, was 25, 25, 25. I don't know if that's too much. Yeah, a lot of people are going to think it wasn't fast enough. Again, the labor market is showing signs of weakness as of yesterday. JOLTS, 6.5 million hirings versus 7.2 million expected. So low hirings. Quits were over 3 million, higher than previously as well. Challenger layoffs spiked to the highest level for January since 2009. And then jobless claims was higher than expected and higher than previously as well. And unemployment claims spiked to 231,000 yesterday. So, yeah, labor's been weak. All right, guys, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes. Gold's starting to correct a little bit. So is the NASDAQ here. Bitcoin has been falling recently as well. Here's Bitcoin at 66,000 here. Bitcoin breaking 59,000. Promise. Okay. Maybe you're right. Bostic again says the Fed might need to lean more into non-official data. So he's probably talking about ADP data. ADP data on Wednesday showed only 22,000 job gains in January. So Wednesday's ADP data report, Bostic again said we might need to lean more into non-official data. Probably talking about this. Again, January data showed 22,000. We saw the biggest weakness in jobs here. And large businesses lost 18,000 jobs. Mid-sized businesses were the biggest winners at, 41,000 jobs. And small businesses were basically flat, with very small businesses gaining 30 and mid-sized small businesses gaining losing 30. But again, they were expected to show up, I think, at like 40 something or 50,000 jobs, and they only showed up at 22,000, weaker than expected for the ADP monthly report that we got on Wednesday this past week. So ADP data was bad last week too. I don't know what kind of song this is. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Opening bell in 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes. NASDAQ breaking down under the support level at 25,775 here. Again, gold falling down. Silver falling down a little bit. Still very green on the day, though. Oil still low after maybe potential stability from talks in the Middle East. Again, Bitcoin falling down a little bit at the open. Amazon still down pretty substantially from this stuff. We'll see what it does at the opening bell. But most tech are down heading into the opening bell, guys. We'll see what we get. Here we go. 2 minutes left. Okay, so the Iranian foreign minister said, in talks with the United States and Oman, we underline that any dialogue requires refraining from threats. Bostic also said, I think it's doable to go back to scarce reserves. Fed might need to lean more into non-official data here. Again, the NASDAQ's falling down a little bit ahead of the opening bell. We'll see if opening bell gets unlocked. This is probably from the market on open data here. So again, this is probably from the market on open data. We have about a minute and a half until the opening bell. Bostic says, I have no idea what Wash has in mind for the Fed regime change. Again, no idea what Wash has in mind in terms of sentiment, I guess. Again, about a minute left until the opening bell, guys. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. Amazon's falling down on this market on open data here. Showing maybe some weakness. So is the NASDAQ here. Again, Bitcoin rebounding back up. It's right around 67,000 at the opening bell today. And here we go. We got the opening bell in less than a minute, guys. Less than a minute. Will the brutal market crash and correction continue today? Yeah, I think you're actually right. I gotta fix the tickers at the top. Okay. I have to reset them every day. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. All right, guys. You guys ready? Here's the opening bell. If we hold here. Again, NASDAQ fell down a little bit at the opening bell here. Let's see if we hold. Look at the NASDAQ falling a little bit at the opening bell. Amazon's starting to push up. We are going to watch Amazon here. Again, Bitcoin's starting to move up a little bit as well. Let's see if the opening bell gives us some volatility. NASDAQ's still falling, though. Some other stuff's moving up, though. Again, we do have the Iranian foreign minister saying talks with the U.S. are solely about nuclear issues. NASDAQ start finding some rebounding here, but it's still pretty early. I got to wait a little bit of time here. Bitcoin's spiking up a little bit at the open. It's up to 67.5s right now for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin's moving up some here. And Bitcoin moving back up some here. $7.5s. Amazon is still falling down at $200 a share, 201s right now. So a little muted open, but Robinhood is spiking up. It's at $79 a share. Oracle's at 140s again. If this market holds though. Again, we are green on the day. Kind of a rangy opening here though. In oil, 63. Barclay says China has made astounding AI progress over the past year, closing much of the gap with the US despite limited computing. Open source collaboration among local labs has accelerated innovation and model iteration. While US labs may regain a lead of next-gen models in 26, China remains close behind. Consumers and enterprise AI adoption lags, but low-cost models like DeepSeek are boosting capability and fine-tuning, according to them. NASDAQ very flat here, guys, so we didn't get a lot of volatility. Oil starting to head up a little bit here. I don't know how to trade this, to be honest. It's very slow. Again, strategy here. Spiking up to 118s right now. NASDAQ looks like it wants to go up. There's 24 8s here on the NASDAQ, so maybe we'll get some volatility here. Again, Bitcoin has risen 67 5s right now for Bitcoin. And again, we do have University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. There's some NASDAQ strength here showing up in markets here. Look at the NQ pop. NASDAQ is popping up right here. This holds. We get a pullback to 800s, I'll probably buy it. Do not copy me, not an investment. Get a pullback to 800s, I'll probably buy it. Not a trap. I need a dip though to buy this. Bitcoin's still rising, almost back up to 6,800s. Again, Apple spiking. Amazon rebounding a little bit. Meta's green. Bitcoin still rising at 67.8, almost 68,000 Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin is rising back up. Look at this. NASDAQ still rising. I need a dip though. I need a pullback here. Bitcoin up to almost 68 right now. Look at Bitcoin at 68s. Yeah, Nvidia up to 177s. See if we get a pullback like we want. Mostly green candle since the open. Nvidia's had 5 straight losses up to today, but it's up 2% so far. See if I get the dip I want. I might take 820s right here too. Get it right here. See, might not have time to get it. This is how much momentum shows up on the upside really here. Green. Force covering. I missed the Bitcoin bounce. I mean, we're back up to 67.8, almost 68,000. We did break over 68,000 for a second in Bitcoin. Like a little bit more of a dip here. We have a cushion on the day. We'll give it a second. Might miss it though. If we dip, again, I'd like a little bit more. I just don't see it yet. Too small. There's not enough meat on this pullback. I'd like a little bit more. Very kind of slow. Yep, Amazon. Yeah, the EU is going to push for trusted chips as part of a new drone strategy. Here's the dip. Add to it. We got in a little bit early, but that's okay. I just want to see if this level bounces it right here. There we go. I'm off. Look at that immediate bounce right there. I should have waited for the level, to be honest, but I'm gonna cut it right there. We just made like 150, I think. Again, I talked about this level right here exactly, and we just bounced up and filled this entire square right here so fast. I might as well take profit if I'm up a couple hundred or like 100 plus in 5 seconds. He bounced exactly where I wanted us to. I got in a little bit early, but that's okay. Early's better than never, I guess. Sometimes. Yeah, the EU is going to push for trusted chips as part of a new drone strategy, according to them. We do have the Michigan data coming live at 10 o'clock today. So we do have Michigan data going live at 10. Could have held, but that's all right. You guys red or green so far at the open? We did a poll asking are bulls or bears in control. Bulls won the poll. 58% bullish, 42% bearish. And so far they've been right. Poll has been right the last few days. What a pleasant surprise. Again, we can take a look at some other stuff here. Look at the NASDAQ still pushing here. Still pushing. Strategy up. NASDAQ up. Silver, gold. Popping up. Gold almost to 5,000 an ounce. It's getting pretty close. Silver, 76 an ounce right now. Silver. So we are seeing some strength. We do have Michigan data going live today too. So it's something. NASDAQ still breaking this. Spikes. It's too early to tell if we're going to finish this strong today, but it's a good sign. Green, mostly green traders. That's good. What did Amazon end up doing? Amazon's kind of muted. They're still down. Again, look at Bitcoin. Over 68,000 right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin back over 68. Yeah, we do have the Michigan consumer sentiment data today, guys. So, see if we hold. Right, so we're over 900s here. 25,000 whole dollar number is right here. We're getting close to that for 25K whole dollar number. You put a timer for the economic data today. I mean, it's not. I mean, I can. It's not really a big release, but I can. Hold on, let me find it. I got you. Hold on. All right, so here's the timer. Oh wait, I'm gone. Hold on. Left the sneeze thing up. All right, guys. So yeah, NASDAQ pulling back. Bostic looks like he's done speaking. Pull back to 850s, I'll buy it, but I need to dip all the way back down here unless it's catalyst really. This is a very large pullback too, so I'm gonna start scaling in. Retrace up. What a drop though. I gotta take half off just to protect, or at least some of this. A big drop. Didn't really hold. I'm gonna get out half there. Still such a big drop. I might add back here, average into here because I can. Go green. Made so much yesterday, I don't want to give it back, but I want to give this a 2. We had a cushion today. Go. Some of that off. Go. The rest flat. Bounce here, the support. Go. Yes, sir. Better right there. Price physical silver premiums haven't shot up. Silver back down to 75s. We did make money on that trade too here. When is Jerome Powell doing the semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress? They usually schedule it by now. I'm surprised they're not doing it yet. I don't see anything scheduled. Again, NASDAQ moving back up here, but 15 minutes before consumer sentiment. All right, NASDAQ started to test the highs of the day again. 850 bounce work there again too. Out of Amazon, too much indecision. Nvidia, guys, is back up to almost 180. So like one of the stories today is definitely Nvidia. Get Nvidia. High capex is good. So even if other stuff falls on fears, it's generally seen as positive for Nvidia. I'm actually up a ton on my stock portfolio today. Oracle helping me out. Get Oracle here. NASDAQ just cracked highs of the day again as well. Amazon's kind of flat on the day though, so Amazon's not really moving. They're basically completely flat since the opening bell here. NASDAQ's up though. Yeah, Bitcoin's up as well. Bitcoin pushing toward 70. At 68s now. 68 fives. Bitcoin is pushing. Again, next week we do have some earnings. Nothing really big though. All the Mag 7s are done. We do have Coinbase, Airbnb Thursday next week. Wednesday we have Cisco, AppLovin, and more. Tuesday we have Robinhood next week. So Robinhood earnings Tuesday. And that's basically it. I mean, we got Coca-Cola Tuesday, Barclays, Spotify, Marriott, Hilton Wednesday, McDonald's Wednesday, T-Mobile Wednesday, Shopify Wednesday, and some other stuff. Applied Materials Thursday. But no big Mag 7 stuff. Are we pushing back towards 25,000? What I'm looking at here. There's Bitcoin still rising. This 900 level hold, here's the question. There's 900s holding here, look at that. Doesn't mean anything yet though. Big psychological level. 25,000 is not that far away, it's right here. I'm assuming the market wants it, but maybe we pull back larger in between. Might take one little small position. I have to be stubborn with it. Yep. Wasn't wrong. Just late. Again, consumer sentiment, 10 a.m. See what the University of Michigan's got to say today. Definitely wasn't the big fearful day that a lot of people expected, including myself. Stuff started bouncing back here. Again, tensions in Iran stabilized after a relatively good meeting. NASDAQ testing highs again. Again, 25,000 is right here. I think it wants it right now. We might not continue over that, but I think we might push up leading into it. Alphabet bouncing back, Amazon bouncing back. Bitcoin hit 68.5s, pulling back a little bit. Still doing. Oh my gosh. What did this guy just say? Scared me. Microsoft still weak. What's up, Tiny? All right, guys, 10 minutes. University of Michigan consumer sentiment. I don't know how much it's going to affect markets. Sometimes when we don't have data, it wildly affects markets. So we'll see. Yeah, market's kind of needed it right now. Oil bouncing back higher too here though. Up to the NQ long. Again, give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. Completely free, doesn't cost anything. There's the link right there. We appreciate it. Nvidia, guys, back over 180. Finding some strength in AI names right now. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We'll see if the crazy swings continue into next week. All right, guys. NVIDIA back up to 181s right now. NASDAQ getting very close to 25,000. You can see it. All right, 8 minutes, guys, until University of Michigan data goes live. All right, guys, NASDAQ still breaking highs. I think it wants 25,000. Look at NVIDIA. Taylor reminder. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes left until University of Michigan data goes live. Lawmakers are seeking Department of Justice communications with Apple and more, according to Politico. And Amazon down 9% still. Big tech had a $1 trillion wipeout. Amazon hasn't really moved since the opening bell, though. It did crack some lows, but it didn't stay down there. It's basically flat. A little quiet since the opening bell here. We'll see if we get anything. It is Friday. NVIDIA boosting markets here. Apple, more getting hit with the Department of Justice, but Apple up to 280s as well. So this is what's dragging the NASDAQ higher here. Again, we're very close to 25,000. And so if we get down to 9s, I'll buy it. We have a large cushion on the day. And if we get down to 9s, I'll buy it. I have to wait for the exact level, though. I'm not going to play it twice. I'm not going to play it early again. Times to bro. Very thankful for the short opportunity. Fuck, man. All right, we're basically here now. Try this. Very small. I'll add to it. I think maybe the market wants 25K, but I'm not super confident. Oh. Flushed. We gotta get a tech sell-off now. Yeah, I gotta cut this. We are now red on the day. We made hundreds yesterday, though, so we're good. But again, I think what the market's doing is reacting to lawmakers seeking Department of Justice communications with Apple and Google, according to Politico. That might be what's dragging down markets. Again, DOJ probe. If you look at some of these stocks here, corrections. Probably what this is. Amazon's starting to test lows as well, to be honest here. But yeah, markets are tumbling down on this probe news. Did bounce right there at 50 though. We'll see if this throws a wrench in the bull action today, guys. I think is what's going on right now. If it does. The bulls get control here. Look like they started to. We want to bounce here. I did catch another good trade here though. Let me show you. Still in this. But give it a chance. A little bit more off there. We got 850 bounce. What are we up today? We're up 300. 288 technically. And we'll see if some of these bounce back. University of Michigan data in 2 minutes. So, I don't know how much it's going to affect markets. Again, University of Michigan consumer sentiment data goes live. It's expected today specifically at 55 for consumer sentiment today. 55. Last time was 56.4, so a little bit of a decrease from previously. Also, we have 1 year and 5 year inflation expectations by the University of Michigan. Again, 55, it's what's expected. It drops in about a minute. It's not a huge release. I don't know how much it's going to affect markets, but yeah, we'll see. Monday next week starts the big economic data week. We got payrolls, JOLTS, or no, we have payrolls, CPI, inflation. NASDAQ still kind of turning into a correction here, though, is what I'm worried about. We have about a minute left until this report drops, about 1 minute. Yeah, again, Department of Justice probe into tech is what's driving this move down. The Dow just broke record highs, though. But again, we got 1 minute until this report goes live. We'll see what it looks like. All right, guys. So again, 20 seconds until this data comes out. 20 seconds. We'll see if it moves markets. It could. Depends on what it shows up as. Ultimately, it could. Again, do not copy me. Not an investment professional. Definitely not telling you to buy Oracle. You know. Good luck. All right, here's the data release right now. So, University of Michigan consumer sentiment stronger than expected at 57.3 versus 55. Inflation expectations were also lowered for 1 year inflation expectations last time were 4%. This time they showed up at 3.5%, although 5 year inflation expectations did uptick 0.1%. Again, maybe this will help markets. The NASDAQ also just popped right around the 200 exponential here if you look at this. We did just bounce right here at the 200 EMA. But again, consumer sentiment stronger than expected. 57.3, 55 expected, and 56.4 last time. So stronger than previously, as well as stronger than expected here, consumer sentiment. So maybe consumer sentiment will boost markets right now. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, stronger consumer sentiment, lower inflation expectations for 1 and 5 year. Again, I'll put this up on screen so you can see it. We'll get into some good trades. I'm already up a few hundred. We made money yesterday too. This is the consumer sentiment right here, though. Stronger than expected. 1 year, 3.5. Previous was 4. They expected 4. 5 to 10 year, though, a little bit higher, 3.3 and previous 3. So, again, 57.3, though, consumer sentiment strong. Bad is good and good is bad. Well, bad is bad and good is bad right now, maybe. Walking away with green. Yeah, we'll see what next week shows us here, man. And it is Friday. I'm worried this might break down though, although it does look a little tempting to buy right now. Is it time to buy right now? Short NASDAQ just to be contrarian. Russell, rocket ship, walking away with green. Honestly, it kind of looks like we're reversing here. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin went over 68s though, but markets look like they're starting to reverse a little bit here after a pretty green open. Doesn't mean anything yet. We're still very early though here. Again, I'm kind of tempted to buy. See if we hold. What consumers are they polling to get better results? Yeah, it's a handful. It's the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment. Like, they're the ones polling the data. Trying to see if the market starts to fall though. It looks kind of weak here, to be honest. I'm just worried if the bears start to really pick up control here, what's going to happen. See. We get a little bounce to the 200 exponential off short. We have such a big cushion, I can start small if we get a bounce to right here. You get one. Need a bounce to like this level though. About 20 seconds. So some of the, I need a little bit higher though. I might miss out, but I get talked into for this. All right. Well, punished. Cut half. I mean, we're still pretty green on the day still, but punished. Again, you got to see we're still green on the day, but should have gone with my own sentiment and just not messed with it. As that got ripped. Again, here's the NQ right here. Let's see if it holds. It's back over the 200 EMA though. Am I up now? I'm still up 150, so we're still okay. There's a big candle wick on the upside though. Yikes. Did something just happen? A huge candle wick all of a sudden. If we had any news. U.S. Treasury Department updates the Iran-related sanction designations. This could be what happened. Definitely look like bears are kind of getting picked up here, though. U.S. Treasury Department updates Iran-related sanctions. Bostic says... My short would have worked. It looks like I just got faked out of the short. That's alright. Bears definitely look like they're in control right now. This drop here. A drop. I don't know if this is the sanction news or not causing this drop. But again, U.S. Treasury Department updates Iran-related sanctions. Could be what it is. I've been trying to stick around a little bit more after the open. So let me know if you prefer that. I'm gonna stick around for a little while more so I can do some stuff. And NASDAQ's trying to creep back up. Let's see if we can get back over that 200 exponential level here now. I did just jump in another short here. Show you it. Like half off. A little bit more off down here. Let this last one slide a little bit more. I want 750s down here, but I'd prefer. I'm gonna cut it right there. I mean, we made our money back here, so again, we're up about 200 on the day now. So we were up almost 3, but we gave a little bit back. Still like a short, though. Might add up to 800s here and see if 800x quickly back down to 2. What I want. Okay, there's a little bit of a rejection. That hold. $200 EMA. I'll give that a second to reject here, but like 250 here, so ideally I'd love a rejection back down. There we go. Not a flat so far on this trade. Looks like I should have shorted the 200 EMA and not this 800 level, but it's all right. I'd like to see a move down here though. These spikes are just too much here. I mean, we're still green on the day, but it's Friday. Get some whippy price actions here. Let's see if we start to rebound back up. But the big move back up. We're now over the 200 EMA now. Bought gold up to almost $5,000 an ounce. So let's see if we hold here. Look at this big rise. I don't know what's going on. Fire stepping back in. Where's strategy at right now? Strategy up to 124s here. Chat. Bitcoin, again, back up to 68. It's making a push here as well. Maybe risk on a little bit more right now. Continuing to take some risks. I'm down so far on this. Actually, I'm kind of... I got a cushion so we can take some risk. If there's any day to take risk. 5 contracts here. Go. Green. Start taking some more off here. Got good... but still like it. I want to see a retracement up quick. $200 EMA bounce, which I generally like, but market's kind of right now, so I'm just gonna get out. Lost a little bit. Market's just swinging back and forth too much. It's probably not a good time to day trade. Look at that candle here. Kind of a wild candle. What happened just now, but still green. So look at that candle here. All right, I'm gonna cut out of here. March 8th. No, we're still in winter time. Yeah, I don't know why the market just turned. I'm waiting to see if I have some breaking news here that explains it. The liquidity is just kind of getting eaten today right now, dude. Kind of a weird swingy price action of markets right now. Might jump on this bandwagon short now. But go. Yeah, we'll hold the rest of this break even. Go. Yep. I'm gonna cut it right there. We're up back to where we're now green, basically $300 again. So we ended up fighting our way back and making our money back. So now I'm officially gonna cut out of here. I know I've said it like 5 times, but now I'm actually getting out of here. Remember, guys, I'm not an investment professional. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna enjoy mine. I haven't really felt great, so I get to sleep now, which is good. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose money, make your own assessment. Trade smart, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Be safe. Right now, we'll see what happens next week.